Hey, it's Goed. So I'm looking at the new update that just came out for CSP. We are on version 1.11.0, which is pretty cool. It was a real small update, all things considered. What did they add? They added some new brush stuff. So specifically, the main thing that I'm looking at and what I am going over in this video is the new brush blending modes that are now compatible with dual brushes. So on the left hand side, I'm going over and I'm just doing the normal painting thing, just a sphere with some lighting, naturally top right corner, shining bright. It's a hard light. You get a little bit of bounce light in the background as well, so that your edges aren't totally darkened. And then of course you have your darkest point at the very bottom because you get a little bit of ambient occlusion. No light gets down there. And I was using the way my old brush was configured to do it, which was just most of my blending was done through opacity. So I would pick a color, and the opacity was determined by my pressure sensitivity. Right? So I would pick a color, I would put it on the canvas, and I would go in with my opacity and layer to create my darker shades. And because it was somewhat opaque, I could take a lighter color and go over darker areas and sort of blend that out to be lighter. And that worked pretty okay. I didn't have too many issues with that. You would run into some sloppy areas where you'd just be like, all the stuff here is weird. The only major thing that I disliked about it was that if I wanted to have softer edges going into things, if I wanted softer or more like airbrush-like transitions using the brush, I would have to switch to a blending brush and then, soften things out like that. So given the new update, I was like, that's real cool because I really like dual brushes. I like the ability to layer different textures on top of each other, in addition to layering those textures on top of, just like the general texture of the brush. So like you have your brush tip shapes, which I've colloquially referred to as the texture of the brush, but then you can also have like a plot by plot texture applied to the brush as well. Which is really trying to like mimic the texture of the canvas, not the texture of the brush, because the texture of the brush comes from the brush tip shape. But anyways, I like the ability to layer all of those parts together and then work from there. So I've taken it upon myself, given this new update, to go in and update my primary brush, which is naturally just called Cohet Prim Brush. Prim is short for primary in this case. Although I'm pretty sure there's an actual brush type or something like a brush that's called a prim. I might be thinking of horses, but I'm pretty sure that that's actually something, and not just a shorthand for primary. But yeah, I went in and I started editing stuff and ran into some weird things. Earlier you might have seen it. In my older brush, I had it set to shade the same brush stroke with darken. That way, if I went over the same part or same spot twice and it was lighter, it would not relight that area. However, using the dual brush and going in with darken caused things to look very choppy graphically, which made going over the same area in the same brushstroke look really weird. So I ended up removing that. That's straight out. It was good for opacity, not so much with the blending modes. And that was just like, that's weird. I don't understand why that had happened. So that was out. I added textures to both of the brush tips. Before I was just using round brushes, which, if you can do it with a round brush, you could do it with anything. It's just that having the texture of your brush built in is kind of nice. Adds a little bit of variance, adds a little bit of opacity. Just makes things more visually interesting. And what I'm going for with my primary brush is something that I feel like I could paint anything with and have it look okay. So I'm not looking for something that's super textured right out the gate. But I am looking for something that has the capacity to do smooth transitions while maintaining visual interest, which I definitely think I achieved in the end here. You can see the ball right now, and I'm just like going all over the place, seeing what blends nice together, what plays bad together. I think it was around this point where I was like, yo, I have to get rid of. Oh, no, that's not this. Was me saying, like, maybe I can set the brush tip to be the shape of my brush instead of just a circle. I tried it. It didn't work. I think it's a little bit janky with dual brushes, which I don't necessarily blame the folks at CSP for. So this is still me blending stuff out. Just this was specifically seeing like how well does this all interact with the background color. Okay, so I figured it out. I think I got what I'm looking for. I go in just like before. I'm painting the ball, and it was very muddy, and I was kind of surprised because I wasn't expecting that much mud from it. So I go in and I adjust some settings, and this is what gets me to what I'm really looking for, which is like a more soft transition. However, and it doesn't really show up here, despite it being soft, if I press hard, I can still maintain hard edges when I want them, which makes it a very good, just like, you know, I'm just trying to color something, do some light rendering real fast type of brush. So yeah, at this point, I'm just like, everything's so muddy. I hate this. I want some softer transitions. So I lessen the hardness. And then I actually switch my primary brush and then the dual brush so that the texture isn't on the inside, but rather like the thing that the rest of the brush is based off of. And yeah, it makes things much softer. It makes things much palatable. I really like it. 1.11, good update. They also added something called a smear. I didn't check it out. It wasn't in any of the settings that I was looking at. But for a full number, not bad. Good fun. So yeah, till next time. Ciao.